हेलो वन बंद हो गई आवाज़। बंद हो गई ना। हेलो चेक चेक वन। हेलो चेक वन टू थ्री। एक मिनट हाँ।
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then stand on it. Yeah. Sounds good. Sorry. I know how they go, so being short.
on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank each one of you for coming to this dedication ceremony. There is a slight delay. Some guests are on the way, and very soon we are going to start the ceremony. And hopefully in the next 10-15 minutes, we'll take off the ceremony. Thank you.
लाइट पता है कब कौन सी जलानी है, कोई मैनेज कर रहा है ना?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. We'll start inshallah in next 5 minutes. So our guests from Houston, they were stuck in a traffic a little bit from their hotel to here. So we apologize for this 10-minute delay. Inshallah we'll start in 5 minutes. Why is this here? Oh, Fatin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start the dedication ceremony. Can I request each one of you to please take your seats and kindly put your cell phones on silent.
And then you don't have to do this. You just start straight away.
Oh, I'll just this.
So you don't have to do this one, right? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yes.
We're now ready.
We are ready,
Mr. Dhanani
yes.
is sitting
3 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start. Please take your seats. Thank you. Dear friends, well-wishers and supporters of the Habib University, I would like to extend a special welcome to Mr. Shaukat Dhanani and Begum Nadia Dhanani, and to the 3 generations of the Dhanani family who have joined us this week all the way from Houston, Texas. We are honored for the presence of our Chancellor, Mr. Rafiq Habib, President Wasif Rizvi, as well as the member of the Board of Governors and Board of Directors. Welcome to all the Mohsineen of Habib University, supporters and friends. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. My name is Amir Hassan, and as a faculty member of the Dhanani School of Science and Engineering, I'm honored to be your MC this memorable September afternoon. To commence this dedication ceremony, which will be followed by unveiling of the DSSE signage and lunch, I would like to call upon Muhammad Usaid, a second-year student of our school, to offer a recitation from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء وما تنفقوا من خير فلأنفسكم وما تنفقون إلا ابتغاء وجه الله وما تنفقوا من خير يوفى إليكم وأنتم لا تظلمون للفقراء الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم الذين ينفقون أموالهم بالليل والنهار سرا وعلانية فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. शुरू करता हूँ अल्लाह के नाम से जो बड़ा मेहरबान और निहायत रहम करने वाला है। ए नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, तुम इन लोगों की हिदायत के ज़िम्मेदार नहीं, बल्कि खुदा ही जिसको चाहता है हिदायत बख्शता है। और मोमिनो, जो माल तुम खर्च करोगे उसका फ़ायदा तुम ही को होगा, और तुम तो जो खर्च करते हो खुदा की खुशनुदी के लिए ही करते हो, और जो माल तुम खर्च करोगे वो तुम्हें पूरा पूरा दे दिया जाएगा और तुम्हारा कुछ नुकसान नहीं किया जाएगा। और हाँ, तुम जो माल खर्च करोगे उन हाजतमंदों के लिए जो खुदा की राह में रुके बैठे हैं और मुल्क में किसी तरफ जाने की ताकत नहीं रखते और मांगने से आर रखते हैं, यहाँ तक कि ना मांगने की वजह से नावाकिफ़ शख्स उनको गनी ख्याल करता है और तुम उनको साफ पहचान लो कि यह हाजतमंद हैं और शर्म के सबब लोगों से लिपट कर नहीं मांग सकते। और जो माल तुम खर्च करोगे बेशक खुदा उसको जानता है। जो लोग रात और दिन और ज़ाहिर और पोशीदा राह खुदा में खर्च करते रहते हैं उसका सिला उनके परवरदिगार के पास है, और उनको क़यामत के दिन न किसी किस्म का खौफ होगा और ना कोई गम। सदक़ल्लाहुल अज़ीम। जज़ाकल्लाह।
Thank you, Usaid, for a beautiful recitation which intersects the very theme for which we have gathered here. The Dhanani School of Science and Engineering is the reason we are all gathered here today. Who could better start off than an alumna who has spent 4 transformative years at Habib University? Thus, I would like to request Fatin Nawaz on the stage, who graduated this May with a Bachelor in Computer Science, to share her experiences at Habib University.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm Fatin Nawaz. I graduated in May 2018 with a major in computer science and a minor in English and comparative literature. It's been a while since I've been back to Habib, and I have to say, like, home always feels like home, no matter how much time has passed. I'm here today to talk about my journey at Habib and how that transitioned into the real world. For a lot of people, you can take a look at their thesis if you want a bird's eye view of their undergraduate. It's not that different in my case. I came to Habib because I was tired of constantly having to think in binaries, science or humanities. O-levels, A-levels, I always had to make this choice. Am I going to take the AdMath class or the literature class? At Habib, I could do both. And that's how I ended up with degrees in both. Interdisciplinarity is what I learned at Habib. And that's what my thesis was. A collaboration with a good friend in the communication and design program. We knew 2 things starting out. Our thesis was going to be about Karachi. And 2, our relationship with Karachi could not be divorced from our relationship with technology. So we set out to create an app through which you could experience Karachi's folk tales, its urban legends, its stories, through augmented reality. We knew there were certain parts of this that we could do alone, ourselves. And because we had mentors in both programs, that was pretty straightforward. But in order for this to succeed, we had to understand what the other was doing. So he set out to understand gaming engines and app development. I set out to understand what design means. Interdisciplinarity. He knows he wants to create art for games today. I know I want to connect science and design. This is the note on which my undergraduate ends. And this is how I end up working as a design thinker at UBL's digital lab. Innovation centers in banks, I didn't even know those existed. But here I am, understanding the latest in fintech, using service design to better customer experience. At my job, I learn from business graduates, engineers, designers, and of course, bankers. And I teach them what I know. Sorry. Just a few weeks ago, they told us that we'll be moving to an agile framework. And that confused some of them, but to me, it was like, okay, no problem, let's move to an agile framework. I've studied this in class, I've implemented it in my thesis, we can do this. It felt good being that sure in the real world. The lab, the digital lab at UBL actually reminds me a lot of Habib. Our furniture is movable, we have walls of whiteboards, we work on the latest machines. I was afraid of losing the standard I had gotten used to at Habib. Sure, I could have made my augmented reality app on my personal laptop, but having a visualization lab full of Macs definitely made it easier. It also made it a lot faster. I'm not sure which of you here made that possible, but I'm very grateful for it. I think through Habib, I understood what it means to give back. Scholarships, community spaces, the pool, which I really miss. We couldn't have had those experiences, the learnings, the lessons we learned without donations and endowments from the wider community of committed society members. So I want to end the speech on a note of gratitude. Habib set the bar for my standards, and I want to thank you all for your part in that. To the Dhanani family, thank you for your generosity with my school. I'm looking forward to what's next for the Dhanani School of Science and Engineering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatin. It's heartening to know how your experiences at Habib University has helped you in the journey of self-cultivation. Being part of the Habib University as a faculty member and looking after the electrical engineering program, I can only re-emphasize how our small class sizes, along with the overall culture, processes, and structures, enable an environment that allows the transformation of our students. More importantly, Habib University, being an undergraduate-only institution, means that faculty thrust and focus is on our undergrads. And we take pride in this. This critical differentiation is missing even at some of the very prestigious institutions in US, and generally seen lacking in Pakistan's engineering universities. On that note, I'd like to share a personal experience. At the University of Southern California, during the International Student Orientation session, a faculty who was the recipient of the Best Teaching Award said something about the importance of a teacher that has since stayed and resonated with me. He said, and I quote, "The teacher in the classroom acts like a mirror to the students. If the teacher is energetic and passionate, the student sees that in the mirror and acts like that. And if the teacher is dull and boring, so would the students," unquote. On that note, and on behalf of the cohorts of Habib faculty, I assure the Dhanani family and to all our Mohsineen supporters and friends that we would continue to live by this message with the belief that if the faculty reflects Yosin in our classrooms, so would our students. Now, to explore the many other innovations in the Dhanani School of Science and Engineering in more detail, I would invite Mr. Wasif Rizvi, the founding president of Habib University, to the stage. Please, Wasif.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So earlier this morning, I gave my 3,219th presentation to various audience of Habib University. And the 3,220th presentation has one distinction. I have, first time, my wife sitting in the front row. So if I do a less than Wasif-esque job, you know why I'm nervous. So this is a quick presentation. Essentially, it sets the context for why this contribution and this growing of community around science and engineering education is perhaps of existentialist significance for Pakistan. So like many post-colonial societies, Pakistan in the 60s decided that they will focus most of their higher education resources to science and engineering, right? So this was a policy decision. They perhaps looked at India that was starting their IITs with some fanfare. It was happening in other parts of Asia. So this was the decision that was taken, but not with a lot of thought or vision. So I don't know this entire share, but it has, now Khuda mila na visale sanam, right? So although we did that, but we are perhaps one of the worst educators of science and engineering as a result. It's quite a counterintuitive outcome. A nation decided, which was a significant nation, for 50 years to invest in a type of education. So there are many graphs that one can show. This is one of them. This is innovation. There is one other that I usually show is exports, right? Which is right now, again, resulting in some sort of an existentialist crisis for Pakistani economy, which is the fiscal deficit. So if we were to chart a graph of exports in Pakistan in 1960 versus in India, Pakistan actually had a slight edge, right? Now they're about $200 billion difference. So the manufacturing and excellence and quality and so on that was anticipated as a result of wanting to do science and engineering, none of that materialized. This is a graph that is showing innovation index, right? Which is essentially making your industry competitive and so on. So our neighborhood is like Mali and Malawi and Mozambique, right? And you see Iran with crippling sanctions on them for last 40 years or something, and India, which I hate to do to a Pakistani audience, but what can I do? That's the only thing that gets your attention, to keep to keep highlighting India, right? And of course, all the emerging problems with the lack of innovation and insight, it's not reasonable to expect that any solution will emerge. So these are essentially a very quick snapshot of a confluence of issues which has caused this in the past 50 years or so. So first is a generic quality issue, right? So you want to do good science and engineering, you better first take care of fundamentals. That you can't have the static content, you need to have those passionate, mirroring teachers and so on, and you need to invest resources. This is perhaps the biggest issue that emerged, that there is zero contextual connection in our science and engineering or even medical training. The only thing that came, which proved to be far more toxic than useful, was during Ziaul Haq era, when he inserted Islamiyat and Pakistan studies in everything, right? So a little chutkala about Pakistan studies, that thank God that cricket matches are live telecast, otherwise in Pakistan studies we would have won all of them. Right? Right. So that's the issue with it. But so none of the broader understanding of society is built in any kind of science and engineering experience. And of course, access. There's a bizarre, twisted access conundrum in Pakistan where O-level and A-level students are crowding all the good universities, private universities, and they are derided upon in public universities with all sorts of equivalency rules and so on. So you have these fundamental access issues, so much so that FSC students are only in 4% who make, or 14% who make up of 90+ percentage of high school graduates, and about less than 15% are able to get into any university. So how are we addressing that in our Dhanani School of Science and Engineering? So first and foremost are these fundamental vision statements, which are essentially cross-cutting to the three issues that I've highlighted, right? That how, especially number 4, how to inculcate this awareness about history, culture, and society. And of course, learning from the best possible innovations of pedagogy. How do you turn dull academics into passionate mirrors through very inspiring pedagogy? This is what we are very humbled by and really proud of as well. So Habib University by far is the most generous private university in the world, right? So let me give you 2 examples of 2 of the richest universities, Harvard and Stanford, right? Flushed with, I don't know, multi-billion-dollar, perhaps the size of Pakistani trade deficit endowments that they have. Their discount, the most generous is Stanford. So their discount is about 37%. So that means that every $100 they were supposed to take from students, they only take 63. Harvard University is more tight, so their discount is about 30%. At Habib University, at this moment, we have a discount of close to 70%, right? And with this stable, it will always be above 50%. And it is made possible by the community support that we have and the vision of the university. Now this HU TOPS program is especially to address an access problem, which is a fully funded program for FSC graduates, for local examination board graduates. So there are 200 students at any given time at Habib University, which is more than 30% of our student body who are being funded through that program. And the rest of them, more than 70%, about 90% of them are on some form of scholarship or financial aid. We are the first liberal arts-centered School of Science and Engineering in Pakistan, one of the very few in the world, right? So this is really emphatically addressing the contextual question. How can you create excellent technicians without having any understanding of how to apply their knowledge to their reality? we heard from Fatin, right? So her conceptual imagination, the first thing that came to her mind as a result of this, to do a project on Karachi. So she's able to do that with this kind of connection. The other thing is the industry. Now, Pakistan, if there were an index of academia and industry partnership, Pakistan, I don't think it will top even Mali and Mozambique, because it is absolutely horrific. There is almost next to negligible relationship connection that Pakistani industry and businesses have with academia. So all of these, we are attempting. So we have a robust industry advisory board. We are connecting our student project. There's a fascinating idea of engineering clinic in which students do their final year project, not the photocopying and coffee getting internship, but an actual project which is useful for the industry as well as credited. None of it would have been even remotely possible without us obsessing about building various types of communities, right? So the first is the intellectual support. That we have been so fortunate. There are governors here who ensured that we start off with 2 world-class universities, Carnegie Mellon and Texas A&M. And this has grown, as you can see. Now, none of these are ranked below 20 in the world, right? Just to give a context, if we were to see the really refined indices, there is no Pakistani university in the top 1,000 of the world. It's not there. And here we are partnering with Stanford, Harvey, which is #1 engineering college, Olin 1 and 2. They both fight for that and so on. So this is our intellectual support. And this, so you all pass through this wall of Mohsineen, right? So all the swagger that I have about Habib being the most generous university in the world is made possible because of names on this wall, right? We call it the wall of Mohsineen. Mohsin is a derivative of Yohsin. So it essentially, this particular group is internalized in our very mission and in very core, right? So the ones who have stepped up and helped us. This day, this is a bit of a surprise. We thought that this landmark day, we want to really highlight a combination of this intellectual support and support for us to be able to provide access to students and university. I would embarrass 4 of my dear friends to come up on stage, and I'll request our Chancellor and I'll request Shaukat Dhanani to acknowledge first Nargis Surti and Shehbaz Yasin Malik. Right, you got to come on. So the TOPS program, which is making us the talk of the town, it would not have been possible without these 2 phenomenal human beings, right? So I go out and announce to the world that we need 200 applications and you will be fully funded. And all I do is to pick up a phone or send a WhatsApp text to these guys that I have made that announcement, now you arrange for it. And they do, right? So as a humble acknowledgement of their absolute remarkable support, Mr. Shaukat Dhanani and our Chancellor Rafiq Habib will award them Habib University medals. Right. We can't have any event when Chuck and Mark are present by not acknowledging them. Yeah, Shaukat bhai, you have to be here. Yeah, thoda sa. So let me give you a quick background, right? So 2009 or 2010, when Carnegie Mellon and Texas A&M were a couple of years old in Doha, I made a cold call to their founding deans, one Chuck Thorpe and one Mark Weichhold. And both of them accepted to meet with me, right? And I showed up. The two most inspiring meetings that I've had in this 8-year journey. Chuck told me something that is stuck, tattooed to my mind, that don't worry about the answers, just keep asking the right questions, and you'll get there, right? So that's Chuck. And with Mark, I used the old Texan trick. When I walked in his office, I had a full-hearted howdy. But both of them opened their institutions, inspired their faculty, asked their staff to share every possible knowledge, every possible intellectual capital that was available in their institutions. And that's not all. They then took us to their main campuses and have us sign partnership agreements with Maine, Texas A&M, and Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. There is no way to describe the service and effort and wisdom and advice that these guys have given us. All this wonderful faculty, they have to go through the baptism of fire because they interview them and help us recruit a world-class faculty as well. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chuck. You both are requested to come out.
You didn't warn us.
Okay, go. Thank you. I'll be amiss not to acknowledge the other wonderful Board of Governors members who are here. Dr. Shahid Ansari and Arvid Nelson, Dr. Arvid Nelson, and one who is now in University of Haifa in Israel, Ron Robin. So this is just a shout out to any of you who's listening that they'll get their medals when we have a School of Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences endowed, right? But today is a celebration that will, and with the help of our Chancellor's address later, will focus on this remarkable development, right? So that again, in the spirit of, and my old habit of sending out of the blue emails, I send one to one Shaukat Dhanani, right, in 2016, just a couple of years ago. We both shared a poignant emotional reality at that time. We both had lost our fathers recently. So when we met, he shared this wonderful story with me that his father, when he was passing, he requested to be buried back in Pakistan, not far from here in Thatta. And he said something remarkable, that after meeting with you, I do realize that perhaps that was the reason. He wanted us to reconnect with Pakistan. And here they are reconnecting in style, about 40 of them and all, right? So they are here. We will acknowledge all of you in a bit. So that's where it concludes. Amber, I hope I didn't do a bad job.
Thank you, Asif. I can vouch that in front of the Home Ministry, the best comes out, and you were as splendid as it gets. On a serious note, Thanks for enlightening us on the intellectual and institutional innovations that have allowed philanthropists such as the Dhanani family to become an important member of this truly unique project. To formally welcome the Dhanani family into the Habib University community, who would be more suited than the chair of the Resource Development Committee of Habib University Foundation? Mr. Bashir Ali Muhammad has served on Habib University's Foundation Board of Directors since 2007 and is also chairman of the Gul Ahmed Textiles, one of the leading textile enterprises in Pakistan. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bashir Ali Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a great honor for me. I have been associated with the Habib family, I think our family since the 1940s, pre-partition. So it's still, we are still continuing to be associated and working together. And I think the Habib family has a magic touch when it comes to charity. They have always been in the forefront, even before in the 60s, 70s, when they built the prestigious Habib School. And when they started this university, I was really overjoyed. I think in such a short time, I have not seen such remarkable progress. And I think it's to the untiring efforts of both Rafiq and Ali Habib. And then, of course, with Wasif coming in, I think it has made all the difference. So at this time, I think it is a great pleasure to thank the Dhanani family for their great contribution, because I think it's come at the right time. The university is at a level where we want to be recognized, like Wasif says, in the top 1,000 universities. And I think this will give us the impetus which we needed. And not only that they have contributed such a handsome amount, I think it's the time and the effort they've done to bring their whole family here. I think time is charity also. The amount of time they've come, the Shaukat family, and especially Mr. Shaukat Dhanani, to give his family the exposure to Pakistan and to this institution, to whom, because seeing is believing. I think if you hadn't come here and seen this, you would never have expected what has really been achieved by this institution. And this has been a great institution to be with, and I'm very lucky to be the head of the resource committee, because we've got such a fantastic team here together, and we've really all worked together and done a great job. And we'd like to thank you again, Mr. Dhanani, and your whole family for making this wonderful contribution to us. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bashir Saab, for sharing this engaging vision of community building. Before we hear from Shaukat Dhanani himself, we would like to now share with you a short video that captures the birth and transformative years of the Dhanani School of Science and Engineering.
Only advanced private university system in the world is in the US, where private universities are even older than the United States as a country. And as a result of that, the philanthropic culture is very advanced. Pakistan is poised to create world-class institutions of higher learning.
Higher education is considered a luxury, and therefore a philanthropic approach to higher education is something new to this country. Now we are spending more time in actively promoting community participation.
So we approached Shaukat Dhanani and the Dhanani family with this particular message, that Pakistan now has private institutions in higher learning which are as credible, as innovative as we have universities in the US. And they have stepped forward and have made a significant legacy at Habib University.
Our family's humble contribution is an investment in the future of this country, and all these young students that are already shining way, way beyond our expectations.
The Dhanani School of Science and Engineering at Habib University is probably one of the unique approaches of STEM education while immersed in a liberal arts environment.
I was of the perspective that you could only pursue one field only, but when I took the liberal core courses, I got to know that there's not just one subject that you could do, but you could integrate a lot of subjects into computer sciences.
To be an engineer, to study physics, to study mathematics, and yet work on research projects was a process of critical thinking. And I think that is important in the industry today. The aim has to be not to just become good engineers, but become good engineering leaders.
Our students, when they go to these best universities in the world, they perform just as well as students from anywhere in the world.
Making sure that you have an extraordinary facility, consistently providing the hardware and the software required for students to stay on top of what they do, has been made possible by very, very generous supports that Habib gets.
Although it has been initiated by a very generous grant by the Habib family, it is part of our institutional vision to have a large and diverse community of supporters and philanthropists as part of Habib University's community.
We have not only a huge opportunity, but also a great responsibility to be part of new and evolving institutions for generations to come.
Mr. Dhanani's story is a classic tale of entrepreneurship and how a hard-working family can build a giant and highly successful business without venture capital or private equity fund. The Dhanani Group is now the second largest restaurant franchise in the USA and has been included in the Forbes list of America's largest private companies. Mr. Shaukat Dhanani's connection with the younger generation is also very inspiring. He nurtures and polishes talents of the young Americans and Pakistani diaspora in the United States, such as speaking at the universities and sharing his inspiration on the holistic personal growth and business development. The Dhanani family are a landmark supporters of Habib University by creating the first significant legacy beside the Habib family. They have inspired a culture of philanthropy towards their homeland by generously giving to higher education, a unique and uncommon area of support in Pakistan. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Shaukat Dhanani.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum, everybody. To start off, I'd like to thank the Habib family, Wasif, and the Mohsineen community for all the recognition, honor, and most of all, the affection that we have received from the moment we have first met. To pick up where Wasif left off, and I've heard this from Wasif over and over, Pakistanis are the most generous people across the globe, but what can really make this nation advance is when we invest in the youth of this country. Habib University provides in the unprecedented opportunity to not only the people of Pakistan living in the country, but to the Pakistani diaspora who can impact higher education and create new pathways to support it. We, the Dhanani family, are truly honored by the opportunity to support the vision of redefining higher education in Pakistan, and most of all, to support Yasin, the values of excellence and passion and commitment to advancing society. Supporting science and engineering education is a thoughtfully selected initiative by the Dhanani family, as it allows us to provide the access of quality higher education to students from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, and to actively support the vision of technological and engineering advancement that is contextualized to Pakistan. The Dhanani School of Science and Engineering is also the first step in our relationship with Habib University, and we hope to evolve it into a lifelong commitment. I hope our passion inspires others in this audience today to make a similar or even larger commitment to this excellent center of higher learning. To Mr. Rafiq Habib and Wasif, thank you so much for providing our family this opportunity to make this humble contribution. Thank you.
Mr. Dhanani, that was truly inspiring, and my words cannot do justice to thank you for your deep engagement with and support to Habib University. On behalf of the university, I can assure you that we will continue to invest in every possible way in the Dhanani School of Science and Engineering and take your vision forward. I would now invite our founder and chancellor, Mr. Rafiq Muhammad Habib, to the stage to share his words of gratitude.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for giving up your Saturday afternoon to be with us. Thank you. Haza min fazli Rabbi. This is all because of the grace of God. We have been extremely fortunate in this journey of trying to build a world-class institution. Our vision and motivation was clear, but the support and understanding that we received from all avenues, including academia from the US, people from Pakistan, and globally, has been far, far beyond our expectations. A little bit about our encounter with the Dhananis. You know, we first came in contact with them through a cold start, but were warmly received. As we got to know them, I realized that here is an exceptional family of hardworking, down-to-earth, humble human beings. A family that is truly inspirational, and it's been a great privilege to get to meet more and more members of the family. And, you know, they're coming together, flying all the way from Houston, some of them arriving only this morning, to participate in this occasion. So humbly, I'm going to request every single member of the family that is here to come up on the stage so that we can thank you properly and acknowledge you. So please, with all the Dhananis and their guests that came from Houston, come up on the stage. Everybody, please.
So, just the luck of the draw, we have randomly picked 3 spokespeople and essentially representing 3 different dimensions of the family that is in front of you. Let's start by really giving them a big Karachi round of applause. Since this is, mashallah, such a large group here, so one spokesperson is not sufficient. So we have randomly picked 3. We'll start out by Muhammad Ali Dhanani, who is perhaps the most jet-lagged of them all because he arrived this morning.
How are you?
Right, good.
What do you want me to say?
So you want to sort of just acknowledge from Dhanani family's behalf.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It is our humble pleasure to be here amongst the great Habib family and President Mr. Wasif Rizvi and the amazing audience. On behalf of the Dhanani family, we are truly, truly humbled to be part of this world-class institution and that we get an opportunity to be part of this amazing, changing the world institution. And the way I look at it, I think education changes lives, but what Mr. Habib and Mr. Rizvi, you're giving us an opportunity to change this country and therefore this world. So we are truly humbled and grateful to be part of this change. Thank you.
To represent the ladies, the women who have flown in, we have requested Dilshad and the older sister of Mr. Shaukat Dhanani to be the spokesperson for them.
Thank you. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We really privileged, and I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making us part of the Muhsineen of Habib University. Truly, we're humbled, and I can't thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. Number 2, I was truly impressed, the phenomenal work, the phenomenal vision they have, and the mission statement they have. I have no doubt that this world-class institution will produce the world-class students, will take Pakistan to the next level. And this will be, inshallah. And I have no doubt, seriously, I have no doubt, after visiting the university yesterday and talking to students, I truly felt this will be an Ivy League of Muslim best university in the world, for sure, inshallah.
So we have all the under 30 Dhananis crowded on one side of the room. So it is only fair that we pick one spokesperson from them. So that's Zohaib Dhanani, Shaukat Bhai's eldest son.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Well, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. We are truly humbled to be a part of this university, to be associated with the Habib family. We want to thank the Habib family, Wasif, the board members, faculty and staff, and students who are here today for this ceremony. You know, we've seen all the pictures and the videos before we came here, but there was nothing that did that justice by seeing this campus, the amazing facilities, the intelligent students, and the dedicated faculty. We got to tour the school yesterday, and we were blown away. Now, for us, younger generation, who were born and raised in the States, this gives us an opportunity and roots here in Pakistan to consistently be here, to visit, to learn about our country and our heritage. So for this, I want to thank Mr. Habib and Mr. Wasif, who does not take no for an answer. Thank you.
Well done. You want to announce it? What is it?
So this is a little memento that we'd like to present to the the Dhanani family, from the Habib family. It's made of elements, actually, of Habib University's campus, in particular the marble that is on the wall of Mohsineen. So just a little memento for you to take along from Habib University.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to thank the entire Dhanani family. We at Habib University are delighted to see such a great and generous commitment by all the members of your family. We see this generosity not as a step, but a leap for others to follow. With that, thank you to everyone for joining us today for this beautiful dedication ceremony of this landmark school at Habib University. The celebrations are not yet over, so I would like to invite everyone to please follow the ushers for a little walk across campus to the location of the unveiling of the signage for the Dhanani School of Science and Engineering. And then do please join us for lunch at the Tapal cafeteria on the lower ground floor. From the entire Habib University community, we wish you a memorable afternoon. Thank you.
Amber.